At least once in our life, we've all imagined waking up with millions in the bank, and every problem we have ever had disappears like that. No more stress, because money equals freedom, right?
Jordan Belfort.
Yes, sir.
A man who had more money than most people could ever spend in a lifetime loses almost all of it. Why? Why wasn't enough enough? The answer has almost nothing to do with money. Because money didn't ruin him, it revealed him. The Wolf of Wall Street really isn't a story about getting rich. It's about what happens when every desire inside you suddenly becomes possible. Because once there are no limits, the only thing left to fight is yourself. And for same with Jordan too. At the beginning of the movie, Jordan isn't the loud, arrogant millionaire we've all seen across the internet. He's just another young man chasing what almost everyone dreams about: success. He wants respect, and money is the finish line for that. The thing that will finally make him complete. And honestly, who wouldn't? Since childhood, we are taught that success looks expensive. The bigger the house, the happier you must be. Especially the time we live in. Every day we are surrounded by people showing vacations, sports cars, designer clothes, private jets. We rarely see the loneliness behind the camera. We only see the reward. And that's exactly how temptation begins. Because we think money will change how we feel. Jordan believed the same thing. And that's why his downfall actually started long before he became rich. It started the moment he believed that wealth could fix something inside him. There's a scene early in the film where Jordan meets his boss at the brokerage firm. He expects advice about investing. Instead, he gets... He's told to make as much money as possible, then spend it on
Cocaine and hookers, my friend.
It's funny, shocking, but it's also the first warning the movie gives us. Nobody tells Jordan to become a better person. They only teach him how to make more money. Because in that world, character doesn't matter. Only results do. And once success becomes the only thing people admire, almost anything becomes acceptable. As long as you win. At first, Jordan doesn't question it. Because why would he? Most people wouldn't. Because success has a strange way of making bad decisions look intelligent. When someone is rich, we assume they know something we don't. We copy them, admire them. Most of the time, we even excuse them. There's a reason people were fascinated by Jordan Belfort. He wasn't just rich. He represented absolute freedom. And for a moment, he looked untouchable. And that's exactly where Jordan's story begins to take a darker turn.
It was heaven on earth.
Wake up, you piece of shit!
And I'm not talking about this. I'm talking about this.
He didn't stop after becoming successful. He couldn't, because success has already changed from a dream into an addiction. And every addiction follows the same rule. The first hit is never enough. The second feels smaller. Then before you realize it, you're risking everything. And Jordan was about to learn the lesson the hardest way possible. The strange thing about success is that it never announces when it stops being enough. One day, you're celebrating your first million. A few months later, it doesn't even impress you anymore. That's because the human brain has a dangerous habit. It adapts. The thing that once felt impossible slowly becomes normal. What once felt like a dream becomes a new baseline. And when that happens, there's only one direction left to go: higher. And Jordan wasn't just chasing money anymore. He was chasing the feeling money gave him. The rush, the sense of power. This is why Jordan's lifestyle keeps becoming more extreme. The spending becomes ridiculous. Not because he suddenly lost control, but because yesterday's excitement no longer works.
$10,000 to shave a fucking head!
It is shown very clearly in the film's most unforgettable scenes. The office doesn't look like a workplace anymore. It's like a circus. People are throwing money, drinking in the middle of the day. At first, it seems entertaining, even inspiring. You almost wish you worked there. But look closer. Nobody is celebrating achievement anymore. They're trying to keep the excitement alive. Because once success becomes normal, you need chaos to feel something again. That's the trap. The more pleasure you chase, the less pleasure you are able to feel. Psychologists call this hedonic adaptation. It's a simple idea. No matter how amazing something feels, your brain eventually gets used to it. The finish line keeps moving. And if your happiness depends reaching on it, you'll spend your entire life running. Jordan isn't addicted to cash. He's addicted to chasing the next high. The money is just the fuel. Everything around him screams success. It's everything his younger self dreamed about. But look at his face. He doesn't look fulfilled. He looks restless. Like someone who is already thinking about the next deal. Because ambition is a wonderful servant, but a terrible master. It pushes people to build companies, create art, change the world. But when ambition loses its purpose, it becomes hunger. This is where money quietly changes the people around you too. When Jordan starts making millions, everyone wants to be near him. People laugh harder at his jokes, agree with everything he says. At first, that feels good. Who wouldn't enjoy being admired? But admiration can become dangerous because eventually you stop hearing the truth. You only hear applause. The people who challenge you disappear. The people who benefits from you stay. And without realizing it, your world becomes an echo chamber. Jordan becomes to believe he's smarter than everyone else. That the rules don't apply to him. That he's too successful to fail. Not because he actually became invincible, but because no one around him had the courage to tell him he wasn't. Then comes the drugs. Most people who watch the movie think that drugs ruined Jordan, but the drugs weren't the beginning, they were the symptom. When your life becomes a constant search for bigger thrills, ordinary life starts feeling unbearably quiet. Your brain gets used to intensity, so you look for something stronger. That's why addiction rarely starts with a substance. It starts with the need to escape yourself. Jordan wasn't escaping poverty anymore. He was escaping the emptiness that success couldn't fill, and every escape demanded a higher price than the last.
Because at least as a rich man, when I have to face my problems, I show up in the back of a limo wearing a $2,000 suit and a $40,000 gold fucking watch.
There is a quote by John Emmerich that power tends to corrupt and absolute power corrupts absolutely. But Jordan's story suggests something even more uncomfortable. What if power doesn't corrupt? What if it simply removes the mask? Because a version of ourselves that appears when no one can tell us no might be the person we have always been. At this point in the film, Jordan has everything. More money than he can spend. A company that prints millions. People who do almost anything for him. This is supposed to be the happy ending. The ending we dream about. So why does it feel like the beginning of a nightmare? Because success has a hidden cost. The more your life revolves around wealth, the more everything else becomes secondary, even your own peace of mind. Because your priorities quietly change. And the scary part is, you don't notice it happening. We can understand it by watching how Jordan treats risk. At the beginning of the movie, losing a few $1,000s feels devastating for him. Later, he's making decisions that could cost him millions. And he barely hesitates. Why is that? Because when you have been rewarded for taking bigger and bigger risks, your brain starts believing bigger risks are normal. The danger no longer feels dangerous. It feels exciting. That's why even gamblers keep increasing their bets. And that's why Jordan keeps pushing further. Because the rules that once protected him now feel like obstacles. One of the hardest truths about wealth is that it can slowly convince you that consequences are optional. That's exactly how people destroy themselves. Not with one terrible decision, but with hundreds of small decisions they believe were harmless. The car section in the later parts of the movie captures it perfectly. Most people remember it because it's hilarious. Leonardo DiCaprio crawling to his car, barely able to move, is one of the funniest moments in the entire film.
Where are you?
I want a car.
What?
But underneath the comedy, it's incredibly tragic. Here's a man who has everything, yet he's completely controlled by a pill. The richest man in the room has become the least free. That's the irony the movie quietly hides behind the laughter. Jordan spent years chasing freedom, but every choice he made built a new prison. Money can buy comfort, yes. It can even solve many problems in your life, but it cannot buy self-control. And if you don't have self-control before you become wealthy, having more options usually makes the weakness bigger. Money doesn't rewrite your character. It gives your character more room to act. Jordan didn't wake up one morning as a different person. He simply reached a point where nothing around him could stop the impulses that had been growing all along.
Mr. Belfort.
Sir, we need to ask you some questions.
Let's go. Come on.
I've been
Get up.
here all night. Been sitting here all night. What the fuck are you talking about?
Where you taking it? Fuck you taking? Where you taking it?
There's a brief contrast with the movie Parasite that's worth thinking about. In that story, the poor believe money will solve every problem. In Wolf of Wall Street, the rich discover it doesn't. One story shows people desperately trying to enter the world of wealth. The other shows someone who reached the world and still couldn't find peace. Different lives, same illusion. The happiness is waiting on the other side of money. As Jordan's empire begins to crumble, something else falls apart with it. His relationships. Trust disappears. His marriage breaks down. The people around around him stops feeling like friends and start feeling like liabilities. Because when success becomes an entire identity, every relationship starts revolving around the success too. That's a lonely way to live. Surrounded by people, yet unable to know who would stay if everything disappeared tomorrow. Then the FBI closes in. For the first time in years, Jordan meets something his money can't control. Reality. And reality doesn't negotiate. It doesn't care how expensive your suit is or how many millions sit in your bank account. Eventually, every decision demands price. Jordan spent years believing that he was untouchable. Reality reminded him that no one is. And in that moment, the illusion finally breaks. The empire he thought would last forever starts collapsing piece by piece. Every lie, every reckless decision had finally caught up with him. In the end, Jordan didn't lose everything in a single day. He lost it slowly, one compromise at a time. Because people really destroy their lives with one giant mistake. They do it with small choices that feel justified in the moment. This leads to the final question. If wealth didn't destroy Jordan Belfort, what actually did? The answer is in money. It's something far more dangerous. And it's something every one of us carries inside.
So I want you right now to give a warm welcome for Mr. Jordan Belfort.
There's a reason The Wolf of Wall Street still fascinates people years after it was released. It isn't really a movie about stockbrokers or luxury. It's about temptation. The final scenes of the movie, the parties are over, helicopters, yacht, endless celebrations. Gone. What left isn't a billionaire living the perfect life. It's just a man sitting in front of an audience, trying to sell them another dream. And maybe that's the most iconic part of Jordan's story. For years, he sold people the promise of becoming rich, but his own life became proof that wealth alone could never give him what he was really searching for.
Sell me this pen.
It's a amazing pen.
Sell me this pen.
Write down thoughts from your life so you can remember.
Sell me this pen.
Enough. So, tell me in the comment section, if you suddenly had everything you ever wanted, would you become a better person or would you simply become more of who you already are? Drop a like if you enjoyed the video and subscribe for more. Thanks for watching.